Good afternoon to all the followers of the Secrets of Betrayal channel. Before you judge me, I'd like you to know that my intention was to save my granddaughter's relationship. I know it may seem a strange thing to do, but as soon as I realized that she and her boyfriend were drifting apart, I made the decision to act quickly to prevent this from happening. My name is Ellie. I'm a single woman in my 60s, and I live in Bakersfield with my daughter and granddaughter. I've been enjoying life for quite some time, especially since my last relationship came to an end. My ex-husband, Anthony, died 20 years ago of a heart attack and left me and our daughter, Eleanor, a very generous monthly pension. Eleanor is now 43, and since Anthony's departure, I've never been seriously involved with another person. My daughter, Eleanor, lost her father when she was still a child, and this loss had a profound impact on her. To try to fill the void that remained, she started going to bars, partying, and hanging out with bad people. As expected, this phase brought consequences, and it was during this period that she ended up getting pregnant. To this day, we don't know who the father of the child is. It was a difficult time for us, but we were lucky enough to have the pension that Anthony left us. Thanks to this, we were able to support the three of us and maintain a comfortable life, despite the challenges we faced. My granddaughter Leah is 20 years old and very difficult to deal with. She's extremely arrogant and always responds in a challenging way, which reminds me a lot of Eleanor at the same age. Leah often brings her boyfriends home, and I, knowing full well the effect this could have, made a point of presenting myself in the living room wearing shorts and short blouses. It's no surprise that her boyfriends were dazzled by me, and this often resulted in fights between us. I don't want to sound conceited, but I'm often mistaken for my daughter's age. People even call us sisters. Since my ex-husband died, I've avoided excessive spending and focused my pension money on looking after myself. I invest in plastic surgery, work out regularly, and eat a balanced diet, so I always attract a lot of attention. My granddaughter finally began to calm down when she started dating her current boyfriend, Benedict. He's 26, studying space engineering, and, as well as being incredibly intelligent, he's also very attractive. He has that classic, charming nerd style, wearing thin-framed glasses with a fringe that falls softly over his eyes. Leah comments that his slightly clumsy manner is one of the characteristics that attracts her the most. And I have to admit, he really is a polite guy with a lot of potential. Since they started dating, my granddaughter has become a calmer and less rebellious person. They've been together for almost a year. Both her mother and I have had several conversations with Leah, trying to convince her that this relationship is an excellent opportunity. After all, we have every confidence that Benedict will become very wealthy in the future, considering all his potential and intelligence. During the whole time we had been dating, Benedict had only come to our house once, at the very beginning of our relationship, to introduce himself to us. After that first meeting, he became a very brief presence, only showing up to drop Leah off at the door. He never came in, or even stayed for a quick chat. This lack of contact always made me a little curious, as I wanted to get to know the boy who was making my granddaughter so happy. A few weeks ago, however, I noticed something strange. I was on my way back from the market, carrying some shopping bags, when I spotted Leah hurrying out of Benedict's car. She slammed the door hard, showing that she was visibly annoyed, and then went into the house without even looking back. That scene left me intrigued and full of questions. What had happened between them? Something definitely wasn't right between them. Before I go on with this real account of infidelity, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. As I witnessed the scene, my concern for Leah increased, as she was clearly upset. As I approached the house, I noticed that Benedict's car was still parked on the sidewalk. I left my shopping on the ground by the gate and went to the car window. Looking in, I saw Benedict, his face haggard, almost in tears. He looked completely heartbroken, and this only deepened my mystery about what was really going on between them. When Benedict noticed me approaching through the rearview mirror, he quickly tried to pull himself together, but the downcast expression on his face left no doubt as to how he really felt. When he saw me, he forced a smile and made an effort to disguise his sadness, greeting me with a cheerful hi and asking how my day was going. His attempt to look cheerful seemed a little forced. "Benedict, can I get in the car so we can talk for a while?" I asked, trying to convey the urgency and concern I felt. He agreed without hesitation, and as soon as I got in, I realized how dejected he was. "Benedict, what happened? Why was Leah so nervous?" I asked, beginning to question him firmly but also with empathy. He took a deep breath and began to explain that he was finding it difficult to satisfy Leah. "She gets visibly frustrated and nervous," he said, with a look that reflected his concern. When I insisted that he clarify the situation, he opened up, revealing that Leah was his first girlfriend and that he was a virgin before they started dating. "I don't have much experience, and I feel like I don't know how to deal with these situations," he confessed, clearly embarrassed. He talked about the impact this inexperience was having on their relationship. "I'm trying to improve, but I feel like I'm not meeting her expectations. It's affecting our relationship, and I feel like a wimp." The weight of his words was clear, and I couldn't help but feel a mixture of concern and compassion for him. Benedict concluded his explanation with a deep sigh. He told me that, in one of the arguments, Leah had told him that he was a dick, which had left him even more shaken. "Most of the time I get nervous and anxious, afraid that I won't be able to live up to her expectations," he explained, the sadness evident in his gaze. "These demands and fights only increase my insecurity." He felt pressured and lost, fighting the anxiety that seemed to haunt him at every encounter. Benedict then confided in me that, despite being deeply in love with Leah, he had never had contact with other women before her and was finding it difficult to maintain the relationship because of this lack of experience. "I really love her, but it's been very difficult to deal with all this," he said, with a tone of frustration and despair in his voice. His words resonated with me, and I realized how much this situation was affecting his self-esteem and the dynamic between the two of them. It was then that an idea began to form in my mind. I really wanted to save my granddaughter's future with Benedict. Leah isn't very patient, and if she decides to break up with him, she'll soon find a scruffy little man. I knew Benedict had potential, but I needed a push. I looked seriously at Benedict and said, "Look, I can help you, but you're going to have to be a bit flexible. If you really want to maintain this relationship and make Leah happy, we need to do something." He looked at me, confused, and asked, "Flexible? What do you mean?" It was then that I answered directly and clearly, "Benedict, I want to help you improve your confidence and your skills. If you really want to maintain your relationship with Leah, I can guide and coach you." He looked at me in amazement, but remained silent. So I continued, "Look, Benedict, I understand that this may seem unexpected, but the idea is simple. If I help you improve your skills and increase your confidence, my granddaughter will be more satisfied and you'll have a relationship without fights." He looked at me in amazement, but remained silent. Then I explained to him that in order to assess what he was dealing with, he had to kiss me. I needed to feel him and see how he behaved. Benedict, a little hesitantly, approached me and gave me a kiss. However, it was a rather dull and awkward kiss. I then encouraged him, saying, "Benedict, kiss me more intensely as if I were a juicy chicken leg." To my surprise, the change was immediate. He started kissing me with much more passion and desire, which made the kiss much more engaging and promising. This experience gave me a better understanding of his potential and the work that still needed to be done. The kiss was truly breathtaking. We finished the kiss, and I complimented him a lot, saying that his technique had improved significantly in a matter of seconds. Benedict looked relieved and visibly happy with the progress. He was excited about the improvement and ready to learn more. Now, with the kiss perfected, the next step was to focus on other areas to ensure that he could do well in all aspects, helping to strengthen the relationship with my granddaughter and achieve a fuller understanding. I asked Benedict to start the car and find a more private place, a quiet spot where we could talk more privately. I suggested a deserted street, as it was Sunday, and could be emptier. Before we left, I got out of the car to pick up my shopping, which had been left on the gate of my house. We drove for about 10 minutes until we came to a dead end. The street was long and narrow, surrounded by bushes and trees, with houses only halfway down the block. It was the perfect place to have the conversation I wanted. Before continuing with this real-life story, subscribe to the channel and leave a like. When Benedict parked the car, I asked him to keep everything that happened inside a secret. He quickly agreed and asked what the next step would be. I explained that the next step was to practice kissing my neck more intensely, and I used the roast chicken analogy again. I asked him to give himself up completely, without fear. Benedict followed my instructions, kissing and squeezing my neck firmly and passionately. Every touch and kiss caused a shiver, showing that he was learning quickly. The young man was adapting well, and it seemed that the guidance I was offering was having an effect. I noticed that Benedict was clearly excited, and this was visible even from his expression and posture. As he walked away, we were interrupted by a phone call from my daughter Eleanor. I asked Benedict to remain silent while I answered the phone. My daughter asked why I was late, as I had gone out to buy some vegetables and it was getting close to lunchtime. I replied that I was late because I had stopped to talk to a friend and that I would be back home soon. I hung up my cell phone and asked Benedict to drop me off at the corner. He started the car immediately and sped off towards my address. Along the way, Benedict was clearly in high spirits, thanking me for the tips and compliments I had given him. I took the opportunity to explain that I wasn't finished yet. I told him that I needed him to come back in the evening, around 23 o'clock, and to wait for me on the same corner where he was going to drop me off. Benedict nodded in agreement. So we arranged to meet up later. As I said goodbye, I noticed his excitement, which was visible even through his pants. I picked up my shopping and got out of the car, thinking about the next step to ensure the evening was a success. When I returned home, I found my granddaughter in her room with the door locked, clearly in her typical teenage mode. My daughter Eleanor and I prepared lunch, tidied up the house, and watched a movie until we eventually fell asleep. Later, at around 22 o'clock, I woke up feeling great. I'd had a particularly intense and spicy dream. I decided to prepare myself with a relaxing bath and a scented cream. I chose an attractive yet discreet outfit for the meeting with Benedict. The anticipation was in the air, and I was ready to get on with my lessons to help him. As soon as the clock struck the appointed time, I grabbed my keys and left the house carefully, so as not to make any noise or arouse suspicion. When I reached the corner, I saw Benedict's car already parked and waiting for me. I opened the door and got in, noticing that he was visibly impressed by my appearance. Benedict greeted me with enthusiasm and a broad smile, revealing his delight. He seemed quite excited to see me like that, and in the midst of his enthusiasm, asked me to calm down. He then commented, "Miss Ellie, I've never had a conversation that lasted more than 2 minutes with you. I always handed Leah in at the door and left, but every time I saw you, I was fascinated by your beauty. You even look younger than your daughter." I thanked Benedict for his compliments and told him it was time to get on with the lessons. I told him we were almost there, and he still had some things to learn. Benedict was extremely attentive and focused, listening to each of my tips with interest. I began to show him exactly how to perform a full massage and how to touch and please a partner. We spent several minutes discussing techniques and important details. To complement the learning, I shared some videos of renowned sexologists that I found on YouTube. He was impressed by the amount of information and tips he was receiving. Benedict absorbed every detail, clearly motivated to improve and apply what he was learning. Benedict wanted to put everything he had learned into practice, but was unsure about experimenting with Leah as his first partner. The car was silent as he reflected on this. It was then that I offered a solution. I proposed that I myself be the guinea pig so that he could practice and hone his skills before trying it with Leah. I explained that this could be useful for both of us, as I could give feedback and help adjust his techniques. Benedict grinned from ear to ear. and I could tell he was excited about the opportunity to put everything he had learned into practice. He was eager to try it out with me first, and that's exactly what we did. Benedict, who had previously seemed a bit of a slowpoke, showed surprising skill. He applied everything he had learned with a keen technique and determination, demonstrating that his intelligence really made a difference. The evolution was rapid and remarkable, which explained why he picked up the scheme so quickly. Benedict did everything right, and drove me crazy 5 times that night. I'd never experienced something so intense and satisfying before, and I was incredibly surprised by his performance. He seemed more self-assured, more confident. That night was a milestone. Benedict really changed and evolved in a way I hadn't imagined. After spending an incredible evening together, Benedict dropped me home again. Before we said goodbye, I told her that it was a unique experience and that we wouldn't do it again. I explained that I was just lending a hand to help with my granddaughter's future. Benedict, visibly happy, thanked me very much and said that he had always seen everything as a valuable learning experience, considering me his teacher in life. We ended with a kiss, and I returned home, satisfied with the outcome and the transformation I had brought about. As the days went by, I realized that my granddaughter never complained about Benedict again. In fact, she seemed to be getting happier and happier. She no longer spends so much time at home. Now, she often spends the whole weekend at his house, and sometimes even during the week. I'm sure he's doing a great job, and it makes me happy to know that I've helped ensure a happier future for them both. And that's how I helped with my granddaughter's future. As ungrateful and arrogant as she can be at times, I still love her very much. She's part of the family. Thank you for watching this far. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more stories. See you next time.